Picture yourself as a member of a search party, looking for a group of lost hikers high in the mountains. High is in elevation, not as...
The show's rad.
Yeah, never mind. They were supposed to be back to their rendezvous 2 weeks prior. With the weather and the snowfall, the search is likely to be difficult, so you prepare yourself. However, you get lucky. You spot a marker flag and a torn and collapsed tent. As you approach, you see the tent was ripped open, either something getting in or someone desperate to get out. As your search party examines the site, you come across snow gear, heavy jackets, boots, gloves, and sweaters hung over where a fire once burned, but no sign of the hikers. I'd wager one of two thoughts would be going through your mind. One, holy shit, it's cold. Oh my god. And also, what the hell happened here? In 1959, a group of 9 experienced hikers met a mysterious end in the Ural Mountains of Russia. The causes of death were mixed. 6 died from hypothermia, 1 died from head trauma, and 2 chest compressions. Investigators and autopsy reports showed the injuries were similar to falling out of a window, or as it's known in Russia, a terrible accident. 4 of the bodies were found near running water. 3 had very strange injuries. Their eyes were missing. And 1, the tongue had been ripped out. The autopsy showed the amount of blood in her stomach that it had happened while she was still alive. There were signs of typical survival strategies intermingled with the bizarre circumstances. They found a small campfire at the base of a tree, and due to the broken limbs and snow drift, they were able to determine that somebody had attempted to climb the tree, maybe to try to find their camp, or were they escaping something, or even more disturbingly, someone. There are a lot of theories and explanations of what happened at Dyatlov Pass, which was named after the forlorn group. Some explanations, official and clinical, sanitized for a government report in a de-Stalinization era Soviet Union. Others more fantastical and paranormal. We can benefit from looking at the story through a broad lens. With the passage of time, what caused 9 well-trained mountaineering hikers to end up nearly nude and frozen in the high peaks of Russia? The group was a cliched example of exactly what you would expect in a situation like this. They were all students of the Ural Polytechnical Institute. Sergei Dyatlov, a 23-year-old who studied radio engineering at Ural Polytechnical Institute, had a drive and desire for mountaineering. In pursuit of this, he arranged a skiing expedition. 7 men and 2 women signed on for what was supposed to be a fun and moderately challenging trip. Sergei and his group filed their paperwork and received a route book from the state to document their progress. In the early morning hours of January 25, 1959, the group arrived by train to the mountain town of Ivdel. They then caught a ride to the last inhabited settlement to the north to begin their journey the following morning. They purchased bread and juices to celebrate the beginning of their journey and to build up some energy for the oncoming hike. The next morning, as they made their way up the trail, one of the members had to turn back. His rheumatoid arthritis started acting up, and his knees and hips prevented him from continuing on. And ultimately, he would be the one to report the delay and return to authorities. Their route was meant to lead from the settlement to Ortotin, a peak 10 kilometers from where the incident ultimately occurred. They trekked on for days, making it through snow-dusted trail and idyllic wooded valleys, in which one Sergei decided to set up an emergency ration cache, in case their trip lasted longer than they had expected or they ran out of supplies on their way back, also to offload some of the weight for the more difficult aspect of the journey that was to come. The following day, the hikers made it up to the pass near Kholat Cycle, where the increasing winds and whiteout conditions caused the group to deviate west towards the peak. As daylight receded, the group had a decision to make. They could move the 1.5 kilometers back down the mountain, or to stay where they were to not lose elevation, even if it was accidental gain. They chose the latter, sealing their fate. What happened that night is far from definitive. It's been a matter of speculation for decades. Other than the death of every member of the group Sergei had invited, save Yuri Yurtsin, the man who had turned around the first day, details are hotly disputed, and have been for decades. The search team, upon reaching their camp, found the campers' belongings, including cameras, journals, and gear. The investigation by Russian authorities initially claimed an avalanche. This was reconfirmed in 2019 when Russian authorities reopened the investigation due to renewed interest. The avalanche is said to have caught the group off guard, causing them to flee. And it makes sense. Avalanches are quick, loud, violent events that an experienced hiker would know to get the fuck out of the way of. But if that was the case, how was the marker flag found? How was the tent not completely buried? How were footprints still visible? Why would they have been so desperate to get out of the tent that they would cut it open? Something caused them to panic. This region of Russia is a historical home to a group of native people known as the Mansi. The area the group was in is known by the Mansi people as soiled ground. The translation for the area roughly means where one does not stand. It is said to be the hunting ground of a creature that is similar to, or perhaps is, the Yeti. Known by a variety of names with some deviation in description, the Yeti is generally described as a towering ape-like beast, unnaturally strong and fast. Could the 9 hikers have encountered this creature? It could explain the injuries inflicted. The fractured skull and chest contusions that were described as similar to being in a car accident. Why do you keep questioning? Was accident? Yes. Would be very possible from a creature of this description. One of the bodies still had the camera around the neck. If they were fleeing, why would he still have the camera? Unless something was on there that was so important to hold on to. Could it be a picture of this creature? Or could it be a picture of Yuri doing a handstand? I mean, we are still talking about college kids, so it's hard to say. What if it wasn't a creature, though? What if it was the mountain itself? There is a noise that is known to whip through the peaks of the Ural Mountains. It measures so low on a waveform that hearing it is uncommon. It's referred to as an infrasound. The sound is the result of the katabatic winds that fall rapidly from the peaks due to the increased pressure in lower atmosphere. This sensation has been described as an incessant buzzing inside your head. The hikers were likely not familiar with this phenomenon, and it could have led to a sense of confusion or even panic. In this scenario, they would have woken in the middle of the night feeling a buzzing in their head. The exhaustion and rigors made worse by the thin air led to panic, as freezing, disorienting winds howled outside the tent. They had little time to escape whatever this sensation was. This buzzing and panic, shouting over each other until someone cut their way outside of the sidewall of the tent. The others, seeing action taken, decided to flee. Knowing they were unlikely to survive the night, could tempers have flared. Unsure of which direction or even where the camp was, they split up. Could someone have snapped? There are no signs of a stroke. But with the bodies found in running water, the heavy snows, who's to say? The only ones who will ever know for sure are the 9 who died. But you know what they say, the dead tell no tales. So let me know what your take is down in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe for more Sick and Awful. And if you have a story that you think would be interesting to cover, feel free to shoot me a message or leave it down in the comments. And until next time, a toodaloo.